We come together this evening to honor, celebrate, reflect, and remember. As we pay tribute to our loved ones, let us recognize our shared experience of loss and reflect upon our connection with them that remains. We gather in our grief to share in our loss. We gather seeking support and comfort in remembrance and ritual, and in the recognition of the beauty, warmth, and light of the season. Tonight, we honor and give presence to our loved ones. We cherish the ways in which they remain with us and the ways in which our relationship remains intact, in heart, in mind, in experience, and in memory. Let them accompany us in thought and feeling, and let us feel the comfort and nurturance of their love. Although our loved one is no longer living, the existence of our relationship with them, the impact of their place in our lives, and ultimately their presence remains.
I'm glad that you could join us, as it is certainly a gift to share this time with each and every one of you. When I look around at this time of year, I often think that the darkness of winter is a time in which we look toward ritual and spiritual reflections. Whether those rituals be formal rites and prayers with our faith communities, or those warm and informal family traditions and personal practices. When the weather grows colder and daylight hours grow shorter, we often turn a bit inward as we find ourselves seeking comfort, warmth, solace, and light. These past many months have been particularly difficult in nearly every way, body, mind, and spirit. And yet we can still craft a measure of time to take a moment and cultivate a bit of peace within. In this vein, I would like to share the words of Mary Oliver. She wrote a poem entitled "In the Storm," in which she shares what so many of us have felt and continue to feel. And for those of us who have lost a loved one in these past many months, it might seem to ring all the more true. Amongst the darkness of the season, she shares a miracle that ever so slowly can help to heal those troubled wounds. Some black ducks were shrugged up on the shore. It was snowing hard from the east, and the sea was in disorder. Then some sanderlings, not 5 inches long, with beaks like wire, flew in, snowflakes on their backs, and settled in a row behind the ducks, whose backs were also covered with snow. So close they were all but touching. They were all but under the roof of the ducks' feathered tails. So the wind pretty much blew over them. They stayed that way, motionless, for maybe an hour. Then the sanderlings, each a handful of feathers, shifted and were blown away out over the water, which was still raging. But somehow they came back, and again the ducks, like a feathered hedge, let them crouch there and live. If someone you didn't know told you this, as I am telling you this, would you believe it? Belief isn't always easy, but this much I have learned, if not enough else: to live with my eyes open. I know what everyone wants is a miracle. This wasn't a miracle, unless, of course, kindness, as now and again some rare person has suggested. Indeed, kindness is a miracle, as surely it is. In this season of winter's chill, in those moments in which we feel as if our backs are covered in snow, thrashed about by shifting winds of emotion, both without ourselves and within our own lives and minds, may we feel kindness for ourselves and for others, as we hopefully can offer it to ourselves and those around us. And in so doing, kindle a measure of light for the world, our community, our families, and even for ourselves to see. Indeed, may our memories shine brightly and warm our hearts with kindness from within. I wish you all many, many blessings, both now and in every moment forward.
Winter Grief by David White. Let the rest in this rested place rest for you. Let the birds sing and the geese call and the sky race from west to east when you cannot raise a wing to fly. Let evening trace your loss in the stonework of a fading sky, so that you can give up and give in and be given back to, so that you can let winter come and live fully inside you, so that you can retrace your loving path of heartbreak that brought you here, so you can cry alone and be alone and let yourself alone to be lost, so you can let yourself not know what not knowing means, so that you can be even more generous in your letting go than they were in their leaving, so that you can let winter be winter, so that you can let the world alone to think of spring.
After significant loss, grief is a natural response with a spectrum of emotional, physical, and social responses. All this takes a lot of energy, dedicated time to share the many thoughts and feelings you don't feel you can share with anyone else. They ensure non-judgmental support is given in a confidential setting. Research shows that people who are grieving do better when they make a practice of engaging in rituals. This means they have set aside time for a meaningful action. It's specific to their relationship to the person who died. They use this time to reflect and integrate memories with present day. It may be listening to a song or journaling. It could be lighting a candle at the dinner table, or it could be visiting a place where you feel close to them. People will have expectations of how you should feel after X amount of time. Be kind to yourself. Recognize your efforts and don't compare yourself to others. Be reassured that grief looks different from person to person, and so does their coping style. Grief is something that changes over time, but never fully leaves. It's not something that can be taken away, just like your love for the person who died cannot be taken away.
On the Death of the Beloved, an abridged version by John O'Donohue. Though we need to weep your loss, you dwell in that safe place in our hearts, where no storm or night or pain can reach you. Your love was like the dawn, brightening over our lives, awakening beneath the dark. We look towards each other no longer. From the old distance of our names, now you dwell inside the rhythm of breath, as close to us as we are to ourselves. Though we cannot see you with outward eyes, we know our soul's gaze is upon your face, smiling back at us from within everything, to which we bring our best refinement. Let us not look for you only in memory, where we would grow lonely without you. You would want us to find you in presence, beside us when beauty brightens, when kindness glows, and music echoes eternal tones. When orchids brighten the earth, darkest winter has turned to spring. May this dark grief flower with hope in every heart that loves you. May you continue to inspire us.
How Do We Go On by John Mark Green. How do we go on after the unthinkable happens? How can we carry the burden of knowing the world can be cruel and dangerous, the future so unpredictable? How do we grieve with empty arms and a head filled with echoing memories? We are stronger than we know, and this is how we show it. Holding each other, giving comfort in the midst of pain, loving more fiercely through our actions and the things we say, making the world just a little bit better every single day. Never taking life for granted, knowing that it can be snatched away. This world may bring deep darkness, but we are the bearers of light. We'll join our flames together and shine in the blackest of nights.
Whether you have a candle available, or you're just working within your own mind's eye and imagination, I'd like to welcome us into several moments of silence in which we can each take the opportunity to cultivate light in dark places.
Feeling light within, I walk. Each of us carries a light within, though often it seems shrouded in darkness. But it is there, that spark that causes us to respond to love, care, beauty, and need in the world, even when we are struggling. Take a deep breath and let the sense of that light within burn steady. We remember them. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. In the opening of the buds and in the warmth of summer, we remember them. In the rustling of leaves and the beauty of autumn, we remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them.
Despite each of us having our own experiences of death, grief, and loss, we often find it to be an isolating experience. It can feel like no one could possibly understand, and no one can change the pain we feel. The truth is, we need help sometimes. In a world that feels so uncomfortable with death and the experience of grief, it can be difficult to find compassionate people to talk to who won't judge you, won't rush you through your story. Asking for help is not easy, but with the right resources, you can start on the path to feeling more supported, less alone. You can think of the Wilson Support Center as a grief database that selects specific information that's relevant for your unique circumstance. We don't expect you to know what you need. We'll guide you through different options customized for you. There are many aspects of support we provide through our team, as well as link you with services in the broader community. We'll have a list provided on screen at the end of this program with some of those resources. They can also be found on our website, www.wilsonsupportcenter.org.
Thank you for joining us in our evening of remembrance. Please know that your experience of grief, although deeply unique and personal, is understood, and that your experience and your story matter. Seek opportunities for meaningful support and connection. Wilson Support Center provides grief support, resource, and education to anyone who has experienced the death of a loved one. please call or visit our website. We are here to support you.